Welcome back to Crypto Equation, and today we are diving into one of the wildest moments spreading across the XRP community. A moment that has gone viral, a moment that shocked thousands watching live, as a woman claimed to leak major XRP secrets exposing information that she said institutions did not want the public to know. And regardless of whether every detail was true, the reaction she triggered has become impossible to ignore. Because whenever someone stands up and says they have insider knowledge about how XRP will be used, how institutions are preparing for it, how liquidity will shift, and how the public is being kept in the dark, the community explodes and fear mixes with excitement as people try to figure out whether they just witnessed a rant, a warning, or the truth spoken out loud too boldly. The clip spread everywhere, not because she delivered classified intelligence, but because she said out loud what millions already feel. Something big is happening behind the scenes. Something institutions are not explaining, something that affects the future of XRP, and something that the public senses even without evidence. The world of financial infrastructure is changing, and information leaks, whether real or misinterpreted, always shake a community already aware that XRP is tied to massive global shifts. So today we will break down the viral moment, not to confirm her claims, not to promote conspiracy, but to explain why this kind of leak gains so much traction and what structural realities might actually sit underneath the emotional shockwaves she triggered. Because the biggest secret is this: the world is transforming financially. And when systems transform, people leak things intentionally or accidentally because pressure builds until someone finally cracks. The first truth this viral clip exposed is that people are deeply aware that XRP is not just another crypto, but a piece of infrastructure in transition. Most digital assets live in speculation. XRP lives in utility. And whenever an asset begins transitioning into institutional utility, people who observe the early stages see things the public does not understand. They see liquidity movements that look coordinated. They see large wallets consolidating. They see supply vanishing from exchanges. They see institutions unusually silent. They see regulatory tone shifting without explanation. These movements trigger suspicion. And when someone publicly claims they have seen documents, presentations, or planning sessions involving XRP, people immediately believe them because the pattern matches what they already observe happening on chain. The second truth is that leaks, whether real or exaggerated, emerge when systems move faster than public awareness. Financial infrastructure changes begin quietly, long before public announcements. Banks test corridors silently. Governments test digital systems internally. Crypto custody providers migrate assets into secure systems without warning. Institutional partners rebalance liquidity without public discussion. All these movements appear suspicious to outsiders. So when she claimed that institutions were preparing for something involving XRP, the clip went viral because her tone matched the emotional pressure building inside the community. People sense transformation happening, but cannot see the full picture. This is why people believe her. The third truth is the mechanics behind the so-called secrets she exposed. One of the claims she made was that major institutions were preparing to use XRP in ways the public would not understand until it was too late. People interpreted this as a hidden conspiracy, but the real explanation is structural, not secret. Institutions preparing for digital settlement do not make public announcements. They test systems internally. They build internal liquidity pools. They experiment with corridor flows. They design interoperability models. They do this silently. So when someone leaks hints about internal preparation, the community believes her because XRP's design naturally moves it toward institutional settlement. The fourth truth she triggered is the public realization that supply is shrinking faster than anyone expected. On-chain data shows declining exchange balances. Wallets holding millions of XRP are consolidating. External custodians are absorbing massive amounts, and large transfers often happen at strange hours without explanation. This looks like secret accumulation. So when she claimed that certain institutions were preparing to lock up liquidity, the community reacted strongly. She did not need to show evidence because the chain itself shows that supply is thinning. The fifth truth this viral moment ignited is the fear that the public will be the last to know when XRP transitions into its next phase. This fear exists because historically, financial transformations have always hit insiders first. Insiders see infrastructure changes. Insiders see regulatory drafts early. Insiders see system migrations. When she claimed that major players already know the future of XRP, the audience reacted emotionally because this fear already exists deep inside the community. The sixth truth is that leaks often exaggerate reality. But exaggerations are born from something real, something structural. The truth is, institutions do not communicate during infrastructure upgrades. They operate silently. They prepare quietly. They migrate liquidity privately. People see movement but no context, and the absence of context feels like secrecy. This is why her clip struck a nerve. The seventh truth is the misunderstanding of institutional custody. She claimed institutions were taking XRP off the market and moving it into controlled systems. This was interpreted as a dramatic revelation, but the reality is that institutional custody, by definition, takes assets off public exchanges. This is not a secret, but it is not widely understood. Every liquidity corridor removes XRP from circulation. Every custody wallet absorbs supply. Every treasury system locks XRP internally. The public sees the disappearance of tokens but does not know why. So when she said this live, the shock was not the claim it was, that someone finally said what everyone already noticed. The eighth truth is that the XRP community has always been hyper-aware of intelligence agency connections because of the asset's proximity to global settlement infrastructure. This is why when she suggested that intelligence contacts warned her or that she overheard things she was not supposed to hear, the audience reacted instantly. People associate digital settlement with government monitoring. People associate cross-border systems with intelligence activity. People associate secrecy with control. So when she brought up the topic live, it activated a psychological trigger already present in the community. The ninth truth is the global financial reset narrative. She claimed XRP would play a role in the restructuring of financial systems that are already collapsing under inefficiency. The world is upgrading to real-time financial rails. Trillions of dollars in liquidity are trapped in outdated accounts. Nations are rolling out digital currencies. Corporations are adopting automated treasury systems. Everything points to a rapid acceleration into digital settlement. She stated this dramatically, as if it were a hidden revelation. In reality, it is publicly observable global infrastructure transformation. The 10th truth is the fear of losing access. She hinted that retail might one day find it difficult to buy XRP freely because institutions were positioning aggressively. This fear is rooted in reality, not conspiracy. Settlement assets do not remain public forever. Institutions absorb supply for utility, not speculation. Corridors lock liquidity permanently. Treasury systems do not trade their balances. As public availability shrinks, retail feels like the asset is being taken from them. When she said this live, she simply voiced what data already shows: shrinking liquidity is real. The 11th truth is about regulatory convergence. She claimed regulations were already written and waiting behind the scenes, and that public announcements are delayed intentionally. This is a dramatic framing, but the underlying idea is not false. Regulators worldwide coordinate frameworks quietly before releasing final versions. Drafts exist long before public dissemination. Institutions review them early. This is standard practice, not secrecy. Her emotional tone made it sound like a cover-up, but the structural truth is that regulation always moves quietly first. The 12th truth is psychological. People are drawn to leak narratives because they offer something priceless in a confusing market certainty. The world is shifting financially. Most people do not understand the shift. So when someone speaks boldly, with confidence and emotion, the community listens, not because the claims are proven, but because she expresses what they already feel inside. The 13th truth is that the loudest people in every movement are rarely the most informed, but they are the most emotionally connected to the truth beneath the surface. She exposed nothing classified. She exposed the emotional state of a community that knows XRP is tied to global transformation, but cannot see the full picture. Her words were dramatic, but her message reflected something real: rapid change. The 14th truth is that no matter how dramatic leaks sound, they often point toward the same conclusion: XRP is transitioning from a retail asset into institutional infrastructure. That transition looks like secrecy, but it is simply modernization. The 15th truth is that leaks do not need to be accurate to reveal something important. Sometimes they reveal what people fear. Sometimes they reveal what people hope. Sometimes they reveal what people sense, but cannot articulate. This is why her viral moment matters, not because she revealed classified information, but because she revealed that the world is moving faster than the public can process, and XRP is already entering its next phase. In part 2, we will dig into each claim she made, the real mechanics behind liquidity migration, why institutions move silently, why insider rumors never stop, and the deeper structural realities that explain why XRP always seems to sit at the center of dramatic revelations. Because now that we have unpacked the emotional shock of her viral moment, we must dive into the deeper structural truths behind each claim, the way institutional liquidity actually moves, the reason rumors always erupt around XRP, and the specific psychological triggers that made her leak feel so explosive. even though much of what she said is best understood, not as secret information, but as the public's first real confrontation with the magnitude of the financial shift happening behind the scenes. The 16th truth behind her statements is the nature of institutional silence. When institutions are preparing for liquidity migration, they operate quietly. They do not announce testing. They do not announce custody arrangements. They do not announce corridor build-outs. They move liquidity privately inside systems designed to maintain confidentiality until activation. This creates an illusion that something hidden or dramatic is happening, when in reality, this silence is standard global financial behavior. So when she said, "They are preparing everything out of sight," it resonated because that is exactly how institutional modernization works. The 17th truth is liquidity window compression. As settlement systems evolve, institutions narrow the window in which they reveal new infrastructure. They keep information internal. They finalize frameworks. They build liquidity buffers. Then they reveal everything at once. This compressed announcement cycle makes the public believe secrets were kept from them. But financial systems are not designed for public transparency during construction. They reveal only once stability is guaranteed. Her warnings fed into this behavior pattern. The 18th truth is the structural reason XRP supply feels like it is being quietly removed. Institutions seeking settlement assets do not buy on exchanges the way retail does. They negotiate over the counter. They restructure private pools. They shift liquidity into cold wallets. They create internal reserves. The public watches on chain transfers and sees massive amounts disappearing without explanation. She referenced this exact pattern, and the audience panicked because they had seen those transfers themselves. The 19th truth is the misunderstanding of on-chain consolidation. When institutions reorganize liquidity, they move large amounts into fewer wallets for security and operational efficiency. This consolidation makes it look like a single entity is absorbing everything. She interpreted this as a few powerful actors taking control, but the reality is that consolidation is required for scalable settlement. The 20th truth is corridor activation timing. When new liquidity corridors come online, institutions absorb XRP needed to support those flows in advance. They do not wait until activation to accumulate. Her claim that they are preparing to lock it up reflects the truth of corridor preloading. Every corridor needs XRP allocated ahead of time to operate smoothly. These locked tokens do not return to exchanges. This looks like disappearance when it is simply operational preparation. The 21st truth is the misinterpretation of private liquidity pools. She suggested that the public will not know when liquidity moves into private systems, and she was right. Private liquidity pools are invisible to retail users. They are off-chain trust systems that cannot be tracked publicly. Institutions use these pools for instant settlement. When assets move into these environments, they remain hidden. This fuels the idea that something is being concealed, but this is not malicious. It is operational necessity. The 22nd truth is why leaks always seem to appear at the same points in XRP's development. Leaks occur whenever global financial systems are upgrading simultaneously. We are in such a phase right now. Banks upgrading messaging, countries launching instant payment systems, governments testing CBDCs, corporations adopting digital treasury systems. These upgrades converge into a moment where settlement assets become essential. Leaks always appear at convergence points. The 23rd truth is the intelligence community's interest in settlement networks. Settlement networks influence global liquidity flows. Intelligence agencies monitor anything tied to cross-border financial movement. Her referencing intelligence personnel was sensational but not surprising. Agencies observe infrastructure changes because liquidity flow influences national security. This does not mean they leak secrets. It means the financial transformation is strategically significant. The 24th truth is the inventiveness of public interpretation. When the public sees unusual wallet behavior, sudden liquidity movement, or strange timing of transfers, they fill in missing information with imagination. Her dramatic tone amplified these interpretations. She stated what people already assumed, and because assumptions felt validated, the clip exploded. The 25th truth is that tokenization is accelerating faster than public education. As tokenized treasury instruments, tokenized bonds, tokenized corporate debt, and tokenized assets emerge, the settlement layer must evolve. Institutions know this. The public does not. When she said the real plan is bigger than you think, she unintentionally described tokenization. She framed it dramatically, but the underlying concept was accurate. Tokenization requires instant settlement. Instant settlement requires assets like XRP. The 26th truth is the misunderstanding of institutional liquidity needs. Institutions preparing for tokenized settlement require huge amounts of liquidity compared to retail. Not for speculation, but for operational flow. When she said they will need more XRP than they want to admit, this was not a leak. It was basic liquidity math. The 27th truth is the psychological tension between retail and institutions. Retail investors fear being diluted. Institutions fear being unprepared. Retail fears losing access. Institutions fear lacking liquidity. These fears collide at moments of rapid transition. Her leak highlighted this collision. The 28th truth is that people confuse infrastructure absorption with manipulation. Absorption looks like removal. Removal looks like suppression. Suppression looks like conspiracy. This emotional cascade creates powerful rumor ecosystems. Her claims did not create this ecosystem. The ecosystem created her claims. The 29th truth is the rapid decline of visible supply. As more XRP shifts into custody and corridors, the public float shrinks permanently. This makes people believe supply is being hidden. But shrinking supply is simply an indicator of utility rising. The 30th truth is the existence of hidden liquidity corridors. Institutions often test corridors privately before public launch. These corridors require liquidity allocated into them. Because tests are private, the movements appear mysterious. She referenced unseen corridors as if she had insider knowledge. But anyone who studies institutional development knows private corridors exist long before public disclosure. The 31st truth is the strange timing of global financial upgrades. Liquidity networks are being upgraded in synchronized fashion. This synchronization is rare and signals a major transition. When she said everything is moving at once, she was describing the synchronization effect. This is not a leak, it is observable. The 32nd truth is the global liquidity rebalance. The world is rebalancing how money moves between countries. This rebalance shifts trillions of dollars. Settlement assets become the backbone of that shift. She described this dramatically as if institutions were hiding a plan, but the plan is public. The timing is what remains secret. The 33rd truth is the fear of missing the transition. Retail investors fear missing the moment when settlement adoption begins. This fear amplifies every dramatic statement. Her leak fed into that anxiety. But the transition is not sudden, it is unfolding now. The 34th truth is the power of emotional delivery. She spoke with urgency. She spoke with intensity. She shook the audience. People confuse emotional strength with insider truth, but emotional delivery only amplifies existing fears. The 35th truth is that none of her claims undermine the long-term direction of XRP. They highlight it. Institutional custody rising is bullish, supply shrinking is bullish, corridor activation is bullish, infrastructure migration is bullish. Her dramatic tone framed these truths as scary, but the underlying meaning is positive. The 36th truth is the real secret behind every leak narrative. The world is moving into real-time financial infrastructure, and XRP is one of the assets positioned for that world. People sense this. Institutions act on this. Regulators prepare for this, and insiders comment on this. Not because they are revealing classified documents, but because the signs are everywhere once you know how to read them. The 37th truth is simple but profound. XRP is not disappearing. XRP is maturing. It is not being hidden. It is being integrated. It is not becoming inaccessible. It is becoming infrastructural. It is not being taken away. It is being repositioned. And that repositioning looks dramatic to the public. It always has. It always will. The 38th truth is the final reality behind her viral moment. She did not leak secret files. She did not expose a forbidden agenda. She exposed a truth the world has tried to ignore. The financial system is changing faster than people are ready for, and XRP is tied to the center of that change. The leak was not the shock. The realization was. The 15th truth is that leaks do not need to be accurate to reveal something important. Sometimes they reveal what people fear. Sometimes they reveal what people hope. Sometimes they reveal what people sense but cannot articulate. This is why her viral moment matters. Not because she revealed classified information, but because she revealed that the world is moving faster than the public can process, and XRP is already entering its next phase. In part 2, we will dig into each claim she made, the real mechanics behind liquidity migration, why institutions move silently, why insider rumors never stop, and the deeper structural realities that explain why XRP always seems to sit at the center of dramatic revelations.